Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. With your kind indulgence, if you allow, please allow me to also congratulate my brother, my age-mate Senator Eddie, on his appointment and new role as the Deputy Minority Whip. You know, Madam Speaker, for the 4 years that we've been here, we have seen the clock go all around. I was here when Senator Sifuna was hounding the Senator for Isiolo out of office, and we were all here. We were really happy about it. Senator Dango and I were removed from office by Senator Boni Alole. He's the one that moved the motion here. Now he's with us in the trenches. We have seen everything here, and we shall see everything. So I congratulate Senator Eddie, and I tell you that enjoy when it lasts. Now you are Deputy Minority Whip, you are Chairman Committee on Roads, you are Vice Chair Committee on CIPIC. Enjoy when it lasts. We have been there. And maybe you shall join us in the trenches someday. Madam Speaker, I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to weigh in my thoughts on this particular bill. I have spoken about this many times, but I feel like the way this bill has been ordered, and that is why I would want to have a very serious conversation with Senator Eddie Okech, because from his contribution, I think he has more problems with the bill than he supports the bill. In fact, he proposed more amendments than he supported what is contained in this bill. I feel like, Madam Speaker, the move of this motion, the Honorable Senator for Meru, is trying to cure a headache by cutting off the neck. He's actually trying to cure a diarrhea by stitching the exit. I don't feel, Madam Speaker, like, you know, Madam Speaker, there are two things we can't legislate. I don't know what is amusing to the Senator for Narok. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, you know there are two things we can't legislate. We can't legislate relationships, and we can't also legislate love. You know, those are issues that we can't legislate. Madam Speaker, the ultimate resolution of this particular challenge, because I think we have stated the problem. All of us have stated the problem that many deputy governors are suffering. I have said it many times. All of us have said it many times. But I don't think this piece of legislation is meant to actually cure that particular problem. In fact, I think we are digging a deeper hole than we are intending to cure. I think we are making it even worse. And I'll give you the illustration why. Let me say this. It is in the thinking of the move of this motion that once we allocate a specific responsibility and role on the deputy governor, then we can at least give the deputy governor some leverage in terms of the administration of a county. But let me tell you this, Madam Speaker. It is common knowledge that it is contained in the Constitution of Kenya that the chairman of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, is the deputy president. In the days preceding to Mr. William Ruto's administration, Mr. William Ruto was the deputy president. When he fell out with his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta, IBEC was being called and nobody was attending, despite the fact that it is contained in the Constitution, not in a statute, in the Constitution of Kenya, that the chairman of IBEC is the deputy president. When he fell out with President Uhuru Kenyatta, nobody was attending IBEC. He was calling IBEC and only governors from his own formation. In fact, let me say it, only governors from Rift Valley and a pocket of some governors from Central Kenya who supported him then were attending IBEC, despite the fact that it is contained in the Constitution. So therefore, even if we give the deputy governor a specific role to play in terms of the administration of the county government, I don't think we have cured the problem. Madam Speaker, I've seen that one of the proposals is that the deputy governor will be a member of the county executive committee, and in fact, ridiculously, there is something that has been contained here, that the deputy governor will be given notice of when the county executive committee is sitting. Do you actually know that in the Constitution of Kenya, Article 179(2), the deputy governor is an automatic member of the county executive committee. The county executive committee has county executive committee members appointed by the governor, And number two, the deputy governor and the governor himself. So there is nothing as it is now, even without this piece of legislation, there is nothing that stops the governor from inviting the deputy governor in county executive committee meetings. But they are complaining that they have never been invited. So therefore, when you say that you are compelling, you are saying that they should be invited, what stops them from being invited now? That is question number one. Question number two, if the deputy governor have fallen out with the governor, and we are saying the person who appoints this deputy governor to a substantive role in the county executive is the governor. So once they fall out, let me ask you, Madam Speaker, who is the accounting officer in the departments of county governments? They are the chief officers. Who appoints chief officers? The governor. So what are we saying when we say that the deputy governor will be appointed into a substantive office, and the accounting officer of that particular substantive office is a chief officer who has been appointed by the governor? Madam Speaker, do you actually know that in the years preceding 2022, it was actually an abomination for a permanent secretary, they are called principal secretary, for a principal secretary to even go and see the deputy president then, Mr. William Ruto, despite the fact that he was the second in command in the republic. I have told you, Madam Speaker, there is no way of legislating relationships. There is no way of legislating love. In fact, I think the most drastic way of sorting out this problem, it is my very, very considered opinion that for us to cure this problem, let us abolish and scrap the position of the deputy governor. That is the only way, in my opinion, we can cure this problem. In fact, why do we force people to have governors that they have not voted for? Because you see, we always say that if a governor dies, or if there is a vacancy in the office of a governor, if a governor dies, if he is jailed for more than 6 months, if they become bankrupt, if they become insane, then automatically the deputy governor takes over. What makes people believe that this deputy governor was being viewed by the voters in the same view as a governor of a county? In fact, the way Senator Eddie has said, and you know, Madam Speaker, I'm a Secretary General of a party. And you know how many egos are taken care of when we are trying to put people together. So I run against somebody, I defeat that person, and I take that person to be my running mate. That person has already been rejected by the voters, but because we need some convenience in terms of the clan, in terms of the region, then I'll pick this person to be my deputy. Even though he has been rejected by the voters, I've taken him as my deputy. Once I die, the person who was rejected comes up to become the governor through the back door, Madam Speaker. So I feel, and I strongly believe, and that is why I oppose this particular piece of legislation, that the only way to cure this particular problem is to abolish this position. Because once people fall out, it does not matter whether you have given them any role in the constitution or not. Once they fall out, I have given you examples, even at the highest offices in the land. I'm happy that Senator Eddie has actually said that when a deputy governor is mistreating a governor, they are actually mistreating the people of the region where that person came from. I wonder where that wisdom was when they were impeaching Deputy President Gachagua, and William Ruto wants to say that it is not the people of that region that he impeached. You know, it is the same thinking for the deputy governor and for the deputy president. Madam Speaker, I have seen that the deputy governor wants to be given a role. I think it is 32. Madam Speaker, if you read the 32G, is what I was speaking about. He will attend county executive committee meetings as a member of the county executive committee, pursuant to Article 179 of the Constitution, and be entitled to reasonable notice of county executive committee meetings. I am asking this question. As it is now without this legislation, what stops a deputy governor from attending or getting notices of these meetings? He is a member of the executive committee anyway. With or without this legislation, the deputy governor is a member of the county executive anyway. So this number G is not supposed to be here. Now, if you read number H, Madam Speaker, from time to time, the deputy governor would appear to the county assembly to respond to questions regarding the implementation of the county development projects by the county executive committee. You know the reason why the governor is invited? The CEO of a county is a governor. And every time, even when people appear before either the committees of parliament, in Senate, and even in the county assembly, the accounting officers are the ones who are dealing with the finances of the county, Madam Speaker. So tell me, what role would a deputy governor be doing in the audit of a county? They have absolutely no role. They are not accounting officers. They are not. They have no role in terms of implementation. They have exactly nothing to do in terms of appearing for audit questions. Assuming, and I know there are some members of this house who have sat in the Public Accounts Committee, assuming we have invited a county to come and appear before Parliament, and a deputy governor appears. Do you think any committee of Parliament would want to listen to a deputy governor? Why would we listen to him? He has no, he has no executive authority of the county. Why is he appearing? What is he appearing here to do? Number I, assist the governor in the implementation of the county budget. Madam Speaker, since we are trying to bring this legislation to manage the relationship between the governor and the deputy governor, tell me, if you have already fallen out, how will that person assist me in the implementation of the budget? In fact, tell me, how is he meant to implement it, to assist in the implementation? Because you see, the county is divided in departments. There is a for example, there is a budget of the department for water. There is a budget for the department for sports. There is a budget for the department of roads. That department has a director. That department has a chief officer. That department has a CCM. Tell me, where does the deputy governor come in terms of implementation? Whether you like him or you don't like him, whether you hate him or you don't hate him, whether you are together or you have fallen out, how does the deputy governor come in? In fact, Madam Speaker, this bill, in my opinion, is very shallow. I do not see, well, let me not say that. If you read number I, it says, including monitoring expenditure. Ensuring fiscal responsibility and promoting financial accountability as directed by the governor. So, if you are fallen out with the governor, at what point will you be directed by the governor? How would a deputy governor, Madam Speaker, promote financial accountability? When I say this bill is shallow, this is what I am speaking about. How does a deputy governor monitor expenditure? He's not an accounting officer, has no executive authority. How would that person monitor expenditure? How would a deputy governor monitor expenditure, Madam Speaker? Surely, even if, because you have been lobbied here by Senator Kaduri to come and support this bill, we can't just support aimlessly and just support because, he has told us to support, and there is nothing to it. He just wants to make deputy governors feel like there's something that we have done as a house, and we are creating more problems than we are trying to cure, Madam Speaker. Serve as an executive liaison office within the county assembly for the purposes with the county assembly for the purposes of facilitating and fostering positive relations between the county assembly and the county executive committee, and enhancing smooth implementation of the county government's project and agenda and policies. Madam Speaker, as it is today, this role, I think, is the role of the county secretary. This role that has been given as role number J. So, will the deputy governor now double up as a county secretary? Will the deputy governor now be appointed as a county secretary? Or will the county secretary undertake the same responsibility as the deputy governor? Madam Speaker, there is one thing that we can't do. We can't come here in this house just for the purposes of making deputy governors feel happy and come and support a bill that is not supposed and is not meant to cure anything. There is no way you can give a responsibility that is already being held by somebody, and you are not saying what will happen to this other person. You are actually now creating two centers of power. When you make him the liaison between the county assembly and the county executive, and you have the county secretary, so what becomes of the county secretary? This, Madam Speaker, is creating a crisis on top of a crisis, and is making, I do not even know, Madam Speaker. Number E is to engage with the public and various stakeholders on issues affecting respective county and put in place measures to address concerns, promote transparency, accountability, and in the governance process. Madam Speaker, if I was to read word by word, slowly, engage with the public, today, without this legislation, what stops the deputy governors from engaging the public? Why do we need this legislation for the deputy governor to engage with the public? I mean, I think that is exactly what they do every day. Even when they are fallen out, they still engage with the public, whether they are together or they are not together. You know, let me tell you, Madam Speaker, the ultimate cure, and I will say it for the upteenth time, the ultimate cure, if you want to get any executive authority in terms of appointment, in terms of implementation, in terms of accountability, monitoring of expenditure, if that is what exactly we are looking for, run for the position of governor. A deputy governor, in my opinion, today as it is in the Constitution, is a spare wheel. A spare wheel is never useful so long as the four wheels of the car are intact. As it is today, Madam Speaker, up to until there's a vacancy in the office of the governor, you serve at the pleasure of the governor. That is what it is. And this bill is not making it any better, in my opinion, Madam Speaker. In fact, if you read from A all the way to J, you will not see anything new here. The only new thing in this bill is to say that a deputy governor will be appointed to a substantive position. First, you have not even been told what is this substantive role that you are being given. You know, somebody can say you will be in charge of disaster management or whatever it is. You know, it's not specified. You are not being told. It is even better in the national government because the deputy governor is in charge, the deputy president, is in charge of IBEC. Now, in this case of the deputy governor, this role that you are saying that they should be appointed into a substantive role, we are not even saying what kind of a role is it. You can even be told that you'll be in charge of carrying the seat of the governor around. That is a substantive role. You can be told that you'll be in charge of county askaris or I don't know what. You know, this is a very ambiguous bill, Madam Speaker. And it's not a well thought of bill. This is not a bill that you can say somebody put a lot of effort in preparing this bill. It's just something that was crafted to just make governors feel happy. We are just massaging egos of the governors, deputy governors, for nothing, and making them feel like we are doing anything. We are passing a legislation to make them feel better. We are passing a legislation to make them feel like the Senate has actually addressed their issues. In this bill, nothing has been addressed. Nothing. Because even in terms of implementation of this particular bill, how do you implement this bill, Madam Speaker? Tell me, how do you tell deputy governors that they will be in charge of expenditure in their county, yet they are not accounting officers? How? I wish you even said they will not even be appointed as CCM, they will be appointed as chief officers, because at least a chief officer is an accounting officer. But you are saying that, Madam Speaker, with those very many remarks, I wish to say that I vehemently oppose this piece of legislation. I don't think we need to amend this. We need to just do away with it and do a fresh bill and make it better.
Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me begin by appreciating the good senator from Meru for taking some time to try and resolve a dispute. The intention of the bill is very good, but the drafting of this bill risks creating another center of power. It will worsen the current situation of the conflict between the governors and the deputy governors. Madam Speaker, I feel the struggles, the challenges that the deputy governors go through. But honestly, we have to be very careful not to create a huge problem in the county in devolution that we may no longer be able to resolve. In this House, Madam Speaker, your chair ruled that only cabinet secretaries appear before committees of this House to be able to respond to matters that affect their respective departments, not a principal secretary. When we now come up with a legislation, and we are not specific in terms of the roles of that deputy governor by saying that when the governor is not able to appear in the summit, then you send the deputy governor. Without being specific, it will create serious problems, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the way this bill can make sense is if it is very clear, and I thought that the framers of the Constitution were very clear when they are creating the position of the deputy governor, which was clearly to deputize the governor, to carry out the functions that the governor assigns the deputy governor to carry out those functions. Madam Speaker, the problem is money. Our governors are living a lavish life. And of course, the deputy governors envy